So the point is basically that I don't think we can afford to be quiet anymore. That I think that everyone that has a voice needs to use their voice, and the people that are doing their own research and know what's really going on and are seeing how the story is being misconstrued need to speak up and correct the people with the partial narrative that's given to you by the mainstream media. You know, everyone has their agenda, and unfortunately we are in a culture where views and clicks and likes are more important than honesty and fair and accurate representation of what's going on. So I'm not going to be so silent anymore. And I know it's not going to be popular in some cases. And I know some of you out there probably won't want to work with me anymore, do business with me. And you know, I just hopefully the positive outweighs the risk. And I'm not even mean financially for me, but just hopefully I can reach enough people, or somebody that's maybe doesn't really know what's going on decides to start looking into things for themselves. And that's worth it then. So we all need to start looking into things for ourselves. There's so much easy access to information these days. A lot of times, you know, within a matter of a few days of any event, there's so much video footage of it that comes out and details that, you know, you get a different idea about things than you would from that first 15-second glimpse you get of the clip on the news. But everyone gets hung up on that initial impression they had, and they don't go and further research what might have happened. And it's just getting uglier and uglier. And, you know, now we're starting to see the other side fighting back and trying to defend these properties and things like that and stop it, since the politicians are making these people stand down. Well, that's what's going to happen. Unfortunately, I don't want to see people getting violent or anyone getting hurt. So let's stop the violence. When these protests, quote unquote, go violent and they turn to riots, let's shut them down. Let's announce on a PA, hey, this isn't a peaceful protest anymore, which is what you're allowed under the Constitution, First Amendment. So you got to go. And if they don't go, disperse them with non-lethal means. Tear gas, whatever it's going to take to get them out of that area, to shut this stuff down, to stop everyone's cities from getting destroyed more. I know any sensible person out there thinks this is ridiculous. And if it was your community being burnt to the ground, you wouldn't agree with it and be cheering on it, you know, these guys, and thinking that it's all for the cause and going to achieve some greater good. This isn't how you do it. I can tell you, if anything, if this continues, it's going to breed a new generation of racists that blame black people and you know, minorities and things like that, and the people on their side for these problems that we're now facing, and the destruction of property, over $1 billion at this point. And how many lives of police officers and random civilians caught in the crossfire at this point during these protests since, you know, George Floyd. So, man, I'm not against police reform, but cops' lives matter too. And I am not a person that's had positive interactions with the police my entire life. I don't have a record. That's not what I'm saying at all. I don't have any negative interactions as far as that goes. But they have a difficult job. And when you watch these tapes, when you watch these videos and you can see what really goes down, man, how do you still try to twist it into some racist narrative? How come nobody's talking about the children and things that are caught in the crossfire of black on black violence? Or the kids that just go missing due to human trafficking every day? How about that? That's an epidemic of its own. But nobody's talking about that. You know, at least not the media. It barely gets any news. We're stuck here in this world of BLM and COVID-19. Constant shutdowns, especially here in Michigan. It just feels like it's never ending. What's going to change to make it better? Do the people destroying things really think that's going to get a positive change? The light it's shining on them is not a positive one. And for the people that are involved in these groups that think that, we're mostly peaceful, there's just a few outliers that go violent. Well, why aren't you condemning those outliers? Why aren't all the peaceful people leaving when it gets crazy? Why are they standing there cheering and egging on the situation even if they're not personally throwing a fireball. Why isn't that happening? Why aren't the Democrat politicians and things in these areas saying, hey, this is crazy, you guys need to stop this, violence isn't going to be allowed at all. Peaceful protest is what you're allowed, and if you're going to go violent, then we're not going to be doing it. You're not allowed that. That's not going to happen. Let's get some help from the government if we don't have enough troops ourselves and shut this shit down and stop having so many problems in all these cities. Why isn't that happening? It's politics. It's unfortunate politics that people are letting people's lives be ruined and companies and livelihoods be destroyed. People die for politics. Pay attention. Do your own research. Think for yourself. Think critically. Don't just believe that first line of BS you see in that 20-second feed on the news. They have a narrative and a story they want to tell. They're selling they're selling the story for likes and views and clicks. They're sensationalizing everything to get you to come back for more. Like a drug. Realize it. Think for yourself. At any rate, you're going to be seeing more of me because now the mask is off. I'm pulling this muzzle here. And that's what those masks are, really. Stay 6 feet away from each other. Put on a mask. Don't look at each other's facial expressions. Don't hear anyone really talking that well. It's ridiculous. I'm taking the mask off. It's time to be more vocal. And I want to encourage anyone else that's in a position to do it, to do it. If you don't want to do it like this, out in the mainstream, at least talk to your friends that seem to be, buying the BS and try to correct them when you know it's not right, or give them sources where they can look for themselves. But unfortunately, these people don't want to look even when it's laid out for them.